Welcome to the Author's Corner with A.C. Campbell. Join us as we take a tour around the literary industry with interviews and features within and throughout the industry. And now, the show. I'm A.C. Campbell, and welcome to a brand new season of our show, The Author's Corner. This season, we're going to have a lot more interviews, a lot bigger interviews, so many things going on. I'm going to have a few more surprises. There's going to be a lot of different things. In hard drive publishing, however, there's going to be a lot of announcements we're going to be publishing from now on, starting in March, every month in 2021 and beyond. I want to bring you more books, more shows, a lot more things coming out of the A.C. Campbell Productions camp. There's going to be a lot of new announcements. There's going to be new segments. This show alone will have a lot of surprises, a lot of news, and just stay tuned. And you can also log on to my website at accampbell3.com or my media page at atcampbellmedia.com and get all the latest. Now on to the show. I want to start off with Lashanna T. Stewart. She talks about overcoming so much to become the woman that she is, to the fact that she gives back so much. I don't want to give away anything in the interview, but you're going to learn so much. And she spends the whole segment teaching how to become the new person that you are, no matter where you're a man, a woman, a child, no matter who you are, you can overcome something. My next interview is with Dr. Dawn Menge. Now, she is awesome. She's traveled all over the world. She's actually written books about her travels, children's books, to get children interested in learning about traveling and different places and different locales and doing different things. Things to get us off the couch, things that makes us want to travel, things that want to get us off our phones, things like that. So we're going to talk to her. And then later, we're going to have an all-new 2 Cents segment where I'm going to have more advice, bigger advice about whole different things. Today, I want to talk about something different, writing related, but then not writing related. But we'll find out when we get there. But first, I want to start off after this break, our interview with Lashanna T. Stewart. When the Author's Corner returns, we're going to talk about overcoming adversity and making it yours with author Lashanna T. Stewart. Then we're going to talk about travel and having adventures with Dr. Dawn Menge. Stay tuned. Welcome to Hard Drive Publishing. Check out our ever-growing collection of titles with new titles coming monthly throughout 2021. Check out our website at www.harddrivepublishing.com to buy books, meet the authors, and learn how to submit your own manuscripts. Check out the books at Hard Drive Publishing, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Do you need editing and formatting services for your manuscript or document? Go to HD Campbell Productions, who will offer professional services and reasonable prices. For more information, call HD Campbell at 314-265-9169, or you can send him an email at hdcampbell3@msn.com. Let HD Campbell be your editor. As always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Coming soon, the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, reintroducing you to a special agent, Sergeant Wise Guy, the government's top strategics and agent with a very sarcastic tongue. A former ranger, he heads up a team of specialists taking care of missions too big or too messy or other agents don't want to handle. His first mission takes him to Paris, where a stolen Cold War nuclear warhead was discovered. While discovering the warhead's origin, a lost dead love resurfaces. Can Sergeant Wise Guy resolve both before the secret plans for the warhead is complete? Well, check out the second printing of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, coming soon.
So my main motivation for writing this book was to pretty much reach out to the community, to others in general that might have went through the same thing that I went through. A lot of times people are on the outside looking in, but they don't understand the struggles that we've had to face in order to get to where we are. So, I overcame a lot, over the course of my 40 years of living. I've just overcome a lot. But I felt like my story needed to be told because a lot of people just, they kind of, their perception of me was totally different from who I am as a person. I'm a very direct person, straightforward. And I think that most people looked at that as like bad, I guess you could say, which that's not, it's that was just kind of instilled in me over the years. So I've had to learn to kind of let loose just a little bit because I used to guard myself and so on and so forth. But mainly it's just because of everything that I went through. And I wanted to tell my story. And I know that somebody had pretty much went through the same thing that I went through. So I wanted them to understand that, hey, you're not alone. And this is how you can break through this.
Awesome. So that would influence your title transitioning from breakdown to breakthroughs?
Yes. How I transitioned. I had the breakdown. I went through the breakdown. It's just like, oh goodness, but the breakdown is necessary. It has to be, it has to partake. You have to go through the process in order to get the breakthrough.
Well, without telling people the book, can you talk about the process of the breakdown? Or
Um, well, as far as the breakdown, it's just pretty much me being hard headed. I did things that I wanted to do. Even though my upbringing, my father brought me up in the church, my parents believed in that, but the breakdown is just like, okay, the disobedience. There's just, God says he wants this for us, but we end up doing our own thing and being disobedient to his word. I was disobedient to my heavenly father. I was disobedient to my biological father. So I had to go through it. I had to go through that. I don't know if you heard the saying where most people be like, well, you're going to learn the hard way. You're going to learn one way or the other, but it's going to be a hard way. You probably going to have to learn the hard. That's where I had to learn the hard way. But it made me who I am today. It made me stronger, made me more confident, wise. And if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have listened. But again, the breakdown was necessary.
see, I love that. A lot of people don't realize that in order to get through your spring, you got to go through a very bad winter. And not a lot of people get that, and you get that. That's why I say your book
Right.
is hard to read. I actually just got your book, so I'm reading it now. So
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know what I think here on future show.
Mhm.
So through everything, God bless you with a diehard spirit. Basically, now I'm just gonna tell you business out here. You got a bachelor's degree in education, you got a master's degree in business administration,
Uh-huh.
with a concentration in human resources management. Now,
Yes.
because of that, you're also the CEO of Lady Elite Shopping Management. Please, with all that, what does all that mean for what you do now?
Okay, so what I went back and I obtained my master's degree in business because I knew that I wanted to own a business eventually. I wanted to own several businesses and it's still in the process. Um, I wanted a business for every one of my kids. I wanted a business for myself. I wanted two or three for myself. But behind Lady Elite Shop, because of when I was coming up, I used to be bullied a lot. People didn't think that I was like pretty enough. They didn't think that I was worthy enough, so on and so forth. But my motive behind that is self-love. Like you have to love yourself. You can do so many different things with yourself. You don't have to, it's not what they say or what they call you, it's what you answer to. So with my shop, I'm just kind of, I like to instill the self-love. I give back to others, and we're going to get to that a little bit later, but it's the beauty of it all because we're all beautiful in our own way. So I'm always been into fashion. I've always been into, like, I like dressing up, I like makeup, I like, well, even my kids now, my daughters are like, oh, let me do your makeup. It's just so cute. So I just find more of the fashion and setting new trends for people. I have my own trends, so it's more like, oh, I would have never thought of that. But it's like, okay, see, you can think outside the box, but it's more on self-love, beauty, self-expression, instead of you having to go all out and buy all these elaborate, expensive. You don't have to do that. So I put it together. I mean, I've always been on this, and I tell my kids all the time, I can go to Walmart and I can buy a $10 outfit and I can kill the scene, because it's all in how you put it together. So I'm really into the fashion thing right now. I'm trying to actually get my kids their own clothing line. So I'm working on that. And so that's just pretty much what it is setting new trends, but you don't have to go all out to do that. And that was just what, when I came up, a lot of my classmates, if it wasn't Tommy or so on and so forth, then you weren't it. You just weren't that person. So I'm just setting a new trend right now.
Let me ask you this: how does the transition go now? You're the adult. Um, how do you encourage your children from what you went through?
Well, I encourage them. What I do with them is I automatically, every last one of my children know that they're something special to me. They're special in their own way. I always let them know that I love them. They are the most precious thing in the world. Oh, you are so beautiful. You are so handsome. But most important, I want my children to understand that being yourself is most important. You don't have to be a second-rate impression of anybody else. And I make sure that they understand that. I always tell them that, they're beautiful. My little girls, I tell them, y'all are so beautiful. My 4-year-old will say, somebody tell her, oh, you know how pretty. She's like, I know, my mama tell me all the time. So I already make sure that I instill that in them. Don't nobody else have to remind them, I mean, they do, but then, like, if it's anything like my 4-year-old, she's going to be like, oh, I already know, because that's just what I do with my kids. I just tell, oh, you going to be this. I prophesize over my kids. I tell my son, you're going to be a doctor, or maybe if you don't want to be a doctor, you're going to own 3, because one thing he likes is he likes cars. He likes cars. And I'm like, you know what? You're going to have a mechanic shop in 2 or 3 different, states, wherever they just going to be, all you're going to have to do is just check in on them. You have to prophesize these things over your kids. And you have to, when you come from it, make sure that you mean it. So that's pretty much, I just make sure that my kids understand how important they are to me and how much value that is placed on their life.
See, as a parent, I feel the same way exactly. So
Yeah.
always encourage. You always gotta push. You always have to go that extra mile to let them know that they are.
Hmm.
So that is
Right.
that is like so awesome. Also, too, when I was researching you, I saw your
Hmm.
Facebook page. I love how you love on your kids. That is so beautiful, and I do. I just wanted to let you know that.
Thank you.
Oh, that is no problem. Now, your book, you had a signing. You recently just had a signing, and the signing was actually, I saw some of that too. So, how has your book been received so far?
Well, I think it's been received pretty well. Most of the feedback that I received from people is, "Wow, looking at you, I wouldn't think that you went through as much as you went through." The biggest response was a lot of tears. So a lot of people cried. That's the biggest one. I want to say, out of 100%, probably about 75, 80% said they just cried, and they had to stop, and then they'll go back, and then they had to stop. And then I've had one customer in general was like, oh my goodness, I really need to talk to you about how you got through this, because this first book, I didn't want to go deep into detail. I just went over the gist of everything. So she was like, oh my God, I just got the same thing going on. I can't believe we had the same experiences. And a lot of people, where I didn't realize, really looked up to me. You never know who's actually watching you and who's admiring, your strength, your talent, so on and so forth. So, it's actually, I think with this book, I've become like more of a mentor to a lot of people as well. But most important, I think it just really touched them to understand that you're not alone. This is not just you, you know.
Now, people love to read where they're not, like you said, that they're not alone. People love to read where, oh my God, she went through the same thing I'm going through, and she overcame it. So, so of course, you're going to get a lot more people as time goes by.
Mhm.
It's gonna make you say the same thing. So, trust me, it's coming.
Right. It is. I'm just waiting for, you know, we're getting there.
Well, see, I also see now, I'm reading everything, and as I read everything, you're all about giving back as well. What
Mhm.
way do you try to give back to your community?
Well, I do, but I use pretty much my education. As far as my bachelor's degree, I have a bachelor's in education. It's elementary education. What I'm trying to do right now for those children that might have, they're a little bit more challenging. And maybe they've gotten kicked out of school, they can't return to a public school. I would like to have a program where where they're offered the GED, because I've taught GED and my success rate has been really, really high. I work with juvenile detention. So my success rate was really, really high. So I would like to be able to reach out to those individuals, those young men, those young women, and be able to provide like a GED class where they can go. I can provide the skill set, for all of the 4 subject areas that they're going to be tested on, and then have them go sit for the test for a minimal fee. But if I know that they come from like a not that as fortunate background, then of course, like, I'm not gonna be charging them. Because I just want, with our community, I think we lack a lot of education, and a lot of it is because of what our children have went through, and they just it's been a known fact that what they see, what they've lived or whatever, it's like they're gonna be, it's like a curse, a generational curse that has to be broken. But we need to break that cycle. So I would like offer those services. Also, what I do with Lady Elite Shop is I give back. I know, I do retail sales, and I'm trying to impart the word in everybody. So I might do giveaways or whatever, but they'll have to go and research trivia questions out the Bible. So, and it requires them to actually go through the Bible, but at the same time, while they're trying to win something, they're gaining knowledge. They're like, oh, that's that verse right there. So, and I mean, I give them 15 minutes, and you can do a lot in those 15 minutes, especially if you want something for free. You know, so that's another thing that I do. I do also, with my knowledge, with my business degree and everything. So if I know that there's an individual that is maybe wanting a business or something, I'll write that business plan for them and say, hey, okay, this is your business plan. You go ahead and do it. Get it done. I want to see you succeed. I don't always do everything for profit. So, but it's just me giving back to them and letting them know I support you in what you do. And once you get it, you come back and let me know once you're certified, your license or whatever, because I can use your services. So
See, that's what I'm
that's
talking about. You get back, and it's like so beautiful. So now back to your children. You man, like I said, I looked at your Facebook page. You just an awesome mother. So how's your
it.
children embrace your book?
Well, they're very excited. My 13-year-old brags about me all the time. He's on the phone. They play these games, and they're able to talk with the other kids on the PlayStation, the Xbox, or whatever it is. And I remember when I received my first book, it was actually the author's copy. And I had to go through and preview it and everything. And my son seen it, and he went and jumped on the game, and he was like, hey, check this out. My mama author now. Oh, she finna be big. He just went on and on. And I heard him through the door, and I'm like, oh my God. Because I always try to whenever I know that they're going in there playing that game, I have to kind of monitor because I'm like, you're not going to be on this game all the time. So he came in there. I was like, oh, let me show y'all what I got. What came in the mail? He left from there. He was so excited. Went back on that game and he was like, hey, my mama's an author. You know, she done wrote a book. She finna be rich. I mean, he just went, oh God, it's just my 8-year-old. I think he done probably read it a few times. But he goes through different pieces, so he's not like start from the finish and like go all the way to the end. He'll just like open it and just start reading. Of course, my daughter is very excited for me. My other kids, they're out. You know, they're out in the world. My oldest son, he's in the military. He's over in Germany, so they haven't received it yet. But the biggest thing is, I think they're excited. They say in their mind, my mama is rich. And I don't, I say, you know what? I am rich. I'm rich at heart. And so, but what God has for me is for me. So that's their mentality towards it. I think my kids see a lot of success in me. I think that that is what makes them, even on my worst days, it's like, mama, you are the best, you know, like, oh, such and such mom may do this or such and such, you know. And I was like, you know what? We all have our different talents. We have things that we do. But when God blesses us to do something, we have to be obedient and do that, you know, so.
It sounds like they're very proud of you.
They are. They are very, very proud.
So what is your biggest accomplishment so far?
I think my biggest accomplishment is that I never gave up. I always believed in myself. Even when others didn't believe in me, I said, you know what? Your opinion doesn't matter. I still believed in myself. Even when I was at my lowest point, I was just, oh no, I'm going to do this. I have faith. I'm talking about smaller than a mustard seed. I mean, it's just, I've never given up on myself and I've never allowed the opinions of others. So I think that that's basically the biggest accomplishment that I have is just believing in myself. And that's pretty much it. Just that faith alone. That's enough for me.
So any regrets?
I don't have any regrets. I feel like everything that I went through in my life, I feel like it was out of purpose. I feel like, excuse me, everything that I've went through and I've encountered, the challenges that I faced, I feel like it's only made me stronger. It's only made me a stronger person. It's only going to build me up to be a better mother, uh, uh, a successful author, a businesswoman, a mentor. So I don't regret anything that I went through. I don't regret anything.
You know what? And I'm just going to add this before I move on. You have such a great attitude about everything, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
actually is driving you. We talked about what you've been through. We talked about these challenges that you've been through, but it was
Mm-hmm.
all positive. You never went negative in any. So yeah, you are definitely on that right track, and it's just gonna improve and more success for you.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful. When I had my book signing, um, one question was if you had it all to do over again. And like I said, the only thing that I would ever do over again is just listen and not be hard headed. But everything I went through, again, it was for purpose. I don't take it back. And God's word is being manifested through everything. I had faith. I believed. I humbled myself. I carried myself well, even at my lowest points. I just was like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting despite what they may say, despite what they may do. I'm going to still keep going. And I think that God acknowledged that in me, you know, like, oh, okay, her faith is in me, you know, so I'm going to prosper her. I'm going to elevate her. I'm going to increase favor. So I'm all about that now. I just don't let things bother with me anymore like they used to. When they used to bother with me, I was depressed. I was stressed. My hair was falling out. My skin was all over the place. So I just don't allow those things to bother me, especially things that I cannot control. Pray about it.
That's definitely it. Like I say, hey, learn to ignore people. That's the best thing to do. Learn to ignore people, turn around, and like, I don't even hear you anymore.
Yes, exactly.
So, what do you do now when you take your cape off at night? You at home and just chilling. What do you like to do when you're not saving the world?
Well, me and my daughter, we play around a lot. I have a teenage daughter. We're more like, I'm mom, she's daughter. She knows boundaries, but um, we're really, really close. So we spend a lot of time. We talk with each other. The 4-year-old and 2-year-old, my two girls, Heaven and Nevaeh. I play with them a lot. I hear them running and screaming down the hall. They'll go mess up their old toys and stuff everywhere, and I go tell them to pick it up. And oh my God, the boys, they're in there in the room playing the game. I have to tell them to get off the game, and then they get off for 5 minutes and want to sneak back in there, and then they'll call the other one on the phone, say, "Come on back here, mama in the room." So it's just like, it's just hectic. And I'm like, okay, I know that I specifically stated, but it's just with the kids pretty much. We don't go out too much right now because of the COVID. I even homeschool my children. My girls are home. They don't go to daycare. So everyone's home with the exception of my 19-year-old daughter. And she works. But we're just home all the time. So it's kind of, we're busy taking care of business during the day. In the afternoon, it's free choice. We watch TV, we watch movies. The other night, we get in there and pop a couple bags of popcorn. They get to choose their genre. Everyone has a different little genre that they choose. It might be horror movies. This one might be, I don't know, cartoons or what. Everybody gets that option. I want everyone to be included. So that's just what we do. We laugh and just, you know, that's just our life right now.
Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Now you just
Yeah.
mentioned COVID, so I'm going to ask you a question about: did you have any other events coming up? I know with COVID it's kind of hard.
It is really hard. That's more of the knockdown that I'm getting right now. I had actually reached out to a couple other authors about doing a conference, and it's pretty much to talk about, because each one of our stories are different. Every last one of our stories are really different. That's why I was like, it was just funny how this was done, because we had author after author, but the significance of our stories is somewhat similar, but it just happened in different. So I wanted to reach out to the authors, in which I did reach out to a few, and I wanted to hold a conference. And it's more on men and women empowerment. This is just, women aren't the only ones that go through this. They're men. Like my father, he was a single father, and he went through a lot of this stuff by himself. So I wanted all of us to get together and hold a conference and get up and speak to the audience about, like, it's more like a live experience. Like, it's in the book, but I also want to provide like a live experience and show you how you can overcome this, how we can all come together as a community and work together to support each other. So I'm working on that right now. I have a few other little things that I'm working on, but I'm praying about it. I have to make sure, that when I go for it, I need God to be led to do so. Um, Another thing is mental illness. I do want to elaborate a little bit on that, because I've experienced that as well. And a lot of people think that it's funny. They take it as a joke, but it's a disease, and they don't understand it. So mental health awareness is one of the other things that I'm really trying to partner with some of the agencies here in Gainesville, because I do want to partake in some activity with them as well, with like the mental hospitals and clinics and so on and so forth. So that's going to probably be my baby, because a lot of people are going through a battle of the mind, and the the perception of others is what makes them think that they're crazy, or that they're not. No, that spirit can be killed. You just got to have people that support you, and be there and help guide you through it. So that's more than likely going to be my baby, the mental health awareness, and just having like a mental health awareness day. where we can get out, bring the kids, because kids, they're also a part of this. They like to say that our kids are bad. They got ADHD and this, that. No, no, we got to rebuke it and we got to kill it. We got to, what I'm saying? I know that those services are out there to help people, but we need to come together as a community to support each other in this.
Please let me know, because I do want to follow you and let you know, and know more about what you're doing. So when you do this, please let me know so I can cover it and follow up with you about it.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Henry.
That is not a problem. So I know you just finished this book, but do you have any more books on the horizon? Any future books?
Yes, I do. And that is one of the bigger questions a lot of people are asking me, and they ask me even at my book signing, oh, it's another one coming. Of course. So the next book that's coming out is Beyond the Breakthrough. It's pretty much, I'm piggybacking and going into detail about what happens after the breakthrough. Okay, after you got your breakthrough, are you going to just give up and just say, okay, I got what I want, and just going on back to doing? No. Beyond the breakthrough. What do you do beyond the breakthrough? You still have faith. You turn any and everything over to God. Don't go back. If God done closed that door, he done healed you, he done fixed you. Don't go back trying to open it. So what do we do beyond that? We done got what we wanted. He done blessed us. We done got our breakthrough, so on and so forth. Now, how will you move forward? So that's pretty much the gist of it. So that's Beyond the Breakthrough. And I have a narrative that I'm working on. So after Beyond the Breakthrough, I'm going to be working on a narrative. It's in, of course, narrative form. Forgive Me, I Need Your Help. So that's the name of that one. It is going to be, I have characters that, it's based off pretty much stuff that I went through. Like we don't know, we turn to so many different people, but we're not turning to God, the one that can really, really help us, So the name of that one again is Forgive Me, I Need Your Help. It's pretty much just turning to God. Even though we done upset him, we done hurt his feelings, we done did all of this stuff, but we need forgiveness for the things that like I told you, I was defiant in my ways. I was hard-headed, but I had to turn to God and ask for forgiveness. And not only that, the things that we go through with each other, the stuff that we go through with each other, and we have to learn how to forgive. I probably should have put some forgetting in there too, because some people, they'll hold on to things. When you forgive, you got to forget it too. Just let it go, but mainly people will do you wrong. And just like God, he forgives us. And you have people that have that heart. They have a forgiving heart. No matter how many times you do them wrong, no matter, you can say this and say that about them, so on and so forth, but then they'll turn right back around and need your help again. So read the book. It's coming.
All right. You have to let me know as soon as it comes out.
Yes.
I would love to do this interview again with you, most definitely.
Yes, most definitely.
So my next question is, how can we get to know you? What's your website? Where can we buy your book, your services? How can we get to know you and take advantage of what you have to offer?
Okay, so currently right now my book is on Amazon. So you can type in my name, Lashanna Stewart, Lashanna. Last name is Stewart, Stewart. I am also on Facebook. I have Lady Aquarius, Ladii Aquarius, and I also have my Lady Elite shop page, which a lot of people reach out to me that I sell stuff to, that and they're not just coming to me about selling stuff, they want to talk. So I also have that one, which is Lady Elite Shop, Ladii. Elite is ELYTE, and then space, and then shop, SHOP. I also have Instagram, which is Lady Elite. It's just Lady Elite, LADIIELYTE on Instagram. Email is Elite7Management, which is ELYTE7, the number 7, and then MGMT@gmail.com. That's my email that I use for my business. So any of those, you can reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that anyone has. If they want to talk, I also want to be that listening ear because, again, I want to be able to advocate for those people. We never know what people are going through. Maybe they just need feedback. Maybe they just need some answers or some solutions. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm there for. I went through so much of it myself. I wish I would have had people that, I could actually turn to. But again, that's the grace of God. I had God. I didn't need to turn to nobody because he was there the whole time for me. So, but a lot of people aren't as strong. They're trying to get there, but they're not as strong as, I may be. So any of those work, I'm always willing to be lending an ear to any and everyone because I love to listen anyway. I love to listen, I love to talk, and I like to encourage and inspire all of the above.
The final question is I'm gonna ask you anyway because you've been doing this the whole time. You've been doing nothing but dropping knowledge the whole time. But I'm just gonna ask, do you have any final words of wisdom? For
Um, the one thing that it sticks to me is maintain a relationship with God. The society that we live in today, it makes it really hard to adjust to God because people tend to think that he forgot about me or he's not listening to me. I just last night up to like 2 o'clock in the morning talking to someone. And I don't know what it is about the wee hours of the night, but that's when I get the majority. I have text messages come in. I have phone calls coming in. I got people calling me on Messenger, and it's always the wee hours of the morning. But when God say I have to be obedient and I have to get up, it doesn't matter what time it is, but I have to be obedient. But just learn how to have that relationship with God. And if before you take action on anything, or it doesn't matter what you're going through, pray about it. Leave it in God's hands. Don't take matters into your own hands because that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you to fall apart. The enemy does not want you to prosper. The enemy wants you to think that you're an addict. The enemy wants you to think that you're a bad parent. No, you can overcome anything that you put your mind to. Again, I'm a mother of 7. Most people look at me and be like, oh, well, she got all those kids. Let me tell you something, honey. My kids made me who I am today. I didn't depend on a man. I didn't depend on anybody else. I did it myself, and I make it look real good, you know? So just having that person to inspire, to talk to you, you can overcome it. You can overcome anything that you put your mind to. But if you need that extra push, that's what I'm there for.
Coming up next, we'll talk about having a few adventures with Dr. Don Menge. Then later, HD's 2 cents. Stay tuned.
Have you seen The Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell? It's the best show you're not watching. Every week we have authors, editors, artists, and others from various industries. There are 3 ways to watch Author's Corner, primarily on our YouTube channel, HD Television, on our HD Television Facebook page, and on our media page at www.hdcampbellmedia.com. It's the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. Check it out weekly, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. And God bless you. Just who is author H.D. Campbell? He's the multi-gene author who can take you on several trips at once. With H.D. Campbell, you can have a romance, you can track a killer, or even stop an international incident. For 30 years and still writing, H.D. Campbell will take you on trips you've never been before. Learn more about him by logging on to hdcampbell3.com or check him out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Read his rewrites of How to Lose a Black Woman and Late Murder at 10 with a new title coming soon. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Welcome to Hard Drive Publishing. Check out our ever growing collection of titles with new titles coming monthly throughout 2021. Check out our website at www.harddrivepublishing.com to buy books, meet the authors, and learn how to submit your own manuscripts. Check out the books at Hard Drive Publishing, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Well, I actually started writing probably in 2002. It was an assignment in my credentialing class. I have a moderate to severe disabilities credential. I've been teaching students with severe cognitive delays for over 20 years. So part of an assignment in one of my math classes was to write a math book. So that's where Queen Renita's came from. The original one had my students in it. And we actually traveled around the high desert. I live in Southern California. And we did little skits. And then I would go back and kind of explain the behaviors and some of the things our students were doing. It was kind of an educational trip for everybody. So like all teachers, I wanted to publish the book. So what I did was I changed it to Queen Renita. Renita was my grandmother. And everybody in the book is a member of my family. So this is my nephew, and this is my son, and I put them in their months of their birthdays when I first started. And when I started, I put all the kids in our family thinking, okay, they're not going to complain, they're too little. And this was the only book that I was going to publish. That was it, I was done. And so I just self-published it, and that's just what I wanted to do. But I started getting interviews, and I immediately won first place in the EV Awards, which is out of Colorado. It's the Independent Publishers Award. So then people started asking me, well, what's your next book? And I'm like, there's no next book. That was it. I did it. So after talking with my friends and my family, I love to travel. I got it from my mom and my grandmother. She was Queen Renita. She was a world traveler. So we decided that the Queen was going to travel around her kingdom and learn about her different subjects and the different areas in her kingdom. So that's where all of the other adventures came from. Now, all of the adventures are real adventures we have had. I've had with my family and my friends, and each book has 12 friends, and each friend has a new subject, and they learn 7 things. So it goes with the calendar skills. So it teaches days of the weeks, months of the years, seasons, and then it goes all the way up to 6th grade. And so it teaches a lot more facts about history and cultures. And so that's where it started from.
Wow. I don't know if you realize this, but we live in a world where inclusion a lot of times doesn't happen no matter how much we want it to, or we sometimes fall short in learning about different cultures and other people. You've been ahead of your time since book 1. Now, I mean, so you and your students and everyone, you've been everywhere. So where are some of the places where are some places Queen Renita has been?
Queen Renita. Okay. Queen Renita, here's one I published in 2019. This one is based on Kona, Hawaii. And I actually have 2 books on Kona. I have a friend that I grew up with, and he moved there. His wife is from there. So this was, I believe, my 3rd book. And this has Sea Captain Jeff and Enchantress Carrie. And then this is the most recent one. It's Volcanic Islands. Now, this has my students in it. Several of my books, I've included my students and their disabilities. So this one is a little girl, and she has Rett syndrome. So she's making lays for her 30 classmates, and her mom is helping her. So it has 7 facts, one for each day of the week, on Rett syndrome. So it's just a little bit of the disability, just a little bit of information, so that if you know someone who has this, then you will understand them a little better. And she's a real person. And then also, if I can find it, this page is Connor. Connor has autism, and Connor was my student. He was my student for about 3 years. And so he is teaching the Queen about how to use his communication device and why he uses it. So there's 7 facts about the communication device. And then he's teaching the Queen all about Volcanic National Park. And so here in Kona, I went to the North Shore, which is in Oahu, but I went to the North Shore and my whole family went, all my kids. And because I won a trip through Stater Brothers. So when people say they never win contests, they do. I used to play a lot and I used to win all sorts of really fun stuff. But we all went there, and one thing I wanted to do was to go in a shark cage. So we all went into the shark cage. And so this is one thing that she did. So it's a true adventure. And this one is based on New Orleans. So the Queen goes to New Orleans and she learns all about slavery, and there's some plantations, and then there's a specific plantation, and then there's 7 facts about it. And then she also went into the bayou and she held a baby alligator. There's the French Quarter. And then here is the bayou. She went into the bayou and she held a baby alligator. Now this is a true story, a true adventure. And if you go onto my Facebook pages or my Instagram or my Twitter, you'll see the pictures from the actual adventures.
You know, I went, actually, when I did the research for the show, I actually went on your Twitter page and your, mainly your Instagram page. And I'm like, wow, and you guys should take your students and your family to all these different trips. And as a kid who took trips with their teachers and their friends and everything, it's like, oh my God, and she actually wrote about them. And
yeah, they're all real. They're all real people. I don't have my. Wait, yes, it is. Okay, this one is on Alaska. So we went to Alaska. I went with my family. I went with Queen Renita, actually, and see, we kayaked to the glacier. Oh. Now this one's 3rd and 4th grade. Like these 2 are more 5th and 6th grade. So they go all the way from pre-K to 6th grade. This is me. I'm looking at the eagles, and we actually kayaked to an island that was filled with eagles. And let's see, I'm trying to think. This one. Okay, we went snorkeling in Sitka. We had to wear a dry suit because the water was freezing. So my mom and I and my cousin did that. And this one is based on the coastline of California. And the Queen learns about tide pools. She swims with an octopus, all sorts of fun things. She goes into caverns and swims with seals. So I do a lot of work with Story Monster magazine, which is an educational magazine. I write book reviews, and I also judge their literacy contests. And I do a lot of events with them, and they're out of Tempe. And let's see, I forgot why I was telling you that. Oh, all of my books are Story Monster approved, and they all have won Purple Dragonfly Awards. Now, all of my books have won a total of 41 awards at this point. So it's won a lot of awards, and it's read in Africa and the UK and let's see, the Philippines. My books are in the Philippines. And this one is pre-K to 1st grade. Now this one is based on the train ride from Williams, Arizona to the Grand Canyon. And this is Queen Renita's. Now this is my grandson Blake, and he's looking out the train window. And so the Queen goes through and spends a year on this train. And then at the very end, she gets to meet Santa Claus. We went on the Polar Express after going on the train to the Grand Canyon where it actually snowed. And it snowed inside the book because they're all real pictures. And then we went on the Polar Express, and this is actually my grandson, Blake. He was so tired, he fell asleep in Santa's lap. But
I'm
this one
jealous.
is, and this one was published in May, and it's pre-K to first grade. Queen Vernita's Visitors, the first one is also pre-K to first grade. And I have one right now that we're editing and getting ready to publish. It's based on, we go every year to Halama Beach. It's on the coastline of California. Our whole family goes. So I wrote a book on camping. So the Queen gets to fly kites, and she learns how to surf, and she learns about the raccoons. She goes to an ostrich farm. And that one's pre-K to first grade also. And so hopefully it will be out in a couple of weeks. So I'm working on that one. And this one is in Baja, Mexico. It's 5th and 6th grade. And the Queen kayaks to La Bufadora. She rides a quad on the beach. She goes to a German eatery. So there's a lot of different cultures. She learns how to do some of the dances. And she goes to school and learns some Spanish. And this one is a paddleboat trip that went up to Snake River. And so she learns about jazz music and Model Ts and all sorts of stuff. And this one also has, it has disabilities. It has a little boy. Let me find his picture. And it talks about his disability. And part of what I've done is I started entering, see his name is Turtle. And what I started doing, because I wanted to kind of branch out a little bit and try something different, is I started entering my books and my book trailers into film festivals. So I saw the Conquering Disabilities with Film Festival. So I entered Queen Vernita's Visitors. Oh, I know what I'm missing. I have an astronomy book that I wrote with my little brother. He's an astronomer at JPL, and it includes Down syndrome and multiple sclerosis. So I entered those into it, and I actually won the Special Recognition Champion Award. And then I got into the Action on Film Festival and the Hollywood Dreams. And we were supposed to go last year to the ceremony, but you know, COVID, we kind of closed everything down. So we're going to go this year in July. And so hopefully I'll win a lot of awards and meet some really neat people. They're very exciting. And I was featured in their Action on Film magazine. And I was interviewed by the film festivals. And so that's really exciting. It's a new branch of stuff I'm trying. And I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I'm sitting up here listening to you, and I'm fascinated like I'm one of your students. So if I'm fascinated, how are your audience reacting to your books?
Well, hopefully it makes them want to go out and go camping and maybe go into a bayou and be brave enough to hold a baby alligator or go swimming. Oh, in my Hawaii book, we go to a place where they actually raise baby seahorses. And this is in Kona, and you go there and you put your hand inside and they're just little babies and they wrap their tails around your finger. So it's really fascinating, and that's in the book. And you can swim with sea turtles, and then you go into lava tubes and go swimming. And so I hope that my books bring out the adventures in families and bring them closer together and to share adventures together, because this is all family, friends and family, all real people that have done all of this. And you'll see that if you go on my website, you'll see the real people doing the real activities. And hopefully that encourages people to go out there and go, I didn't know I could do that, or I didn't know, like, oh, let's go do this, let's go camping on the beach, let's go make s'mores or go kite flying at the ocean, so that's what I'm really hoping. And there's, of course, there's the educational part in here, where you're learning some facts, but you don't really pick up on the fact that you're learning. See, oh yeah,
I didn't even know.
This is a new one. Now this one is not a Queen Vernita adventure. It's a totally different one because I wanted to try something different. So this one is called Dragon's Breath, and it's a first grade, second grade book, but it's a story about a mischievous dragon who is causing some trouble in the kingdom because she's kind of jealous and angry, and the king has to figure out what's happening. and then he figures it out. It's kind of a lesson on being kind, even though you're jealous or you're upset. You can't hurt people. And so it's kind of a lesson, but it just came out, oh gosh, a month ago. And so I'm really happy about it. It's totally different than Queen Vernita. I just wanted to try something different. So that's Dragon's Breath. So I think I have 12 books out now.
Oh, see, that is so awesome. So what gives you the inspiration for your books?
Oh, well, my traveling, my life. My kids are all in their 30s, and I have 5 grandchildren. My oldest is a junior in high school, and my kids are now setting up all of our family trips. So we went camping in Zion, and of course that will be a book. And then we went camping at the Grand Canyon. So I'm going to make a book just on the Grand Canyon, and it'll be probably 6th grade or above, because of all the geological information. Let's see what else. I love to travel, and my mom and my grandmother instilled that into me. She was an astute businesswoman. She founded a credit union, the Methodist Ministers Federal Credit Union, and she traveled the world. And so they instilled that in me, and the adventure. And as long as people are reading my books and I'm getting wonderful feedback, that's the one thing that a lot of people, I don't think they know about authors, is we don't really know, unless you actually tell us, we don't know who's reading our books or where they're at, or, and.
But my next question for you is, and this is going to be a pretty hard question, and you might not have an answer to, but out of all of your books, which one is your personal favorite?
Which one is my favorite?
I know it's like picking amongst your children.
I don't, I don't have a favorite because they're all based on my actual life. So it's like saying, well, it's like asking which trip do you like the best? Exactly. They were all different. This one, the paddleboat trip was totally different than when I go to Kona. When we go to Kona, I take my kids and my grandkids, and I have a friend there, and we do a lot of very adventuresome things. I think that going in the bayou and holding a baby alligator was one of the most amazing things I've done. I was just so excited about that. I've been to Tahiti. I've included some of the things in my Hawaii books, but we went to Tahiti. My son was 16, and poor guy had to travel with his mother and his grandmother. Just feel sorry for him. But we went to Tahiti, and we went snoobling. He's actually in this book. We went snoobling, and it was kind of in between snorkeling and scuba diving, and we were feeding the fish. And so this was an actual picture. This many fish were around him. And it was so amazing. This is one of my favorite pictures of my son. Of course, now he's in his 30s, and he's got babies and houses, but every trip is different. So I don't have a favorite. Right now, we're in the middle of doing the illustrations for my next book. It's based on Tucson, Arizona. And I wrote it with a friend of mine that I've known since I was 16. We actually were in a car accident together when we were 16. And I spent my junior year in a body cast because I broke several bones. But we reconnected through the school districts. And so we wrote a book on Tucson, Arizona. And he introduced me to a bed and breakfast there. It's called Hacienda Linda. And it's just gorgeous. And so that's the center of our book. And we're working on the illustrations now. And that will be probably 6th or 7th grade. It's got a lot of history in it. There's missions and the history of the Tohono Indians. So it's going to be, I think that one is going to be one of the best books, the Queen Vernita books, I think.
I'm a big history education type of guy, especially history. I love how you can write entertaining children's books and then put in there a lot of great geography and a lot of great history there. And it's not like in other words, I don't feel like I'm being taught or preached to. It's like I'm reading a story and learning something from reading a story.
Yeah, I only put 7 facts in each one, so it's one for each day of the week. So you just get a little tidbit of it. Like my astronomy book, I actually sold out, is why I don't have one. But each month is a new planet, and there's 7 facts. So say you liked Saturn and you're reading the month of Saturn, then you would take that and you would go find more information about Saturn. So it's the same way about all this. You know, if you're interested in the specific plantations, or maybe the lava tubes in Kona, or Sitka. You know, Sitka's in here. There's a crab fest. There's seahorses and sea turtles, and there's octopus and tide pools and caverns, stalactites and stalagmites, and jazz. If you're interested in jazz, this one has bandits and a little bit of history. And then this one has, of course, a lot of the Spanish history in it. You know, if you're interested, or you're going to go on a trip, you're going to go to see the La Bufadora, you could read this book and it'll tell you some of the things you'll see on your trip.
Wow.
And you don't even know you're learning. That's the best part.
So my next question, a little more serious one: has COVID slowed down your trips?
Um, well, since I'm a teacher, now we've been teaching from home. So what I decided to do, I was doing a lot of events right when this happened, and I was going to Tempe, Arizona, at least once a month, and I do a lot of work with the state of California. I help develop the standardized testing for our students. I work on developing the questions and reviewing them and all of that. So I was traveling to Sacramento and working, and I also am a professor at the local university. I teach our up and coming teachers, and I really love that. But I was getting really tired. So I actually came back from Sacramento, went to work one day, and they closed us down. And I didn't even know what was going on. You know, I was up in Sacramento, and the other teachers, they were from San Diego and Sacramento and LA, and they were being closed down as we were up there. So, but what I decided, since I was at home, and I couldn't do any more events, I was going to write more books and do more interviews and networking. And so that's what I did. So during this time, we've been off for a year, I've written 5 books. So I've gotten them out and getting them published. And so when I go back to work, I'm not going to have time to write anymore. So hopefully I've caught up with some of the adventures. But we have continued to travel. I do a lot of traveling right now with my mom. So we do little trips. We love to go up to Cambria. It's on the coast of California. We go up there a lot. We've gone to the beach. We've gone camping. So since this has been going on, we've gone to the Grand Canyon and Zion and the Sequoias with my family. We've done the camping. In fact, when we went to Zion, I can't think of what month it was, maybe November. It was so packed with people, we couldn't even get on the bus. There were so many people there. But so there's people still trying to get out. So yeah, it's slowed down, like international travel, cruises, that type of thing. But we've just done other stuff. And I live in the mountains in Southern California, so we do a lot of outdoor stuff. We try to walk every day or hike and things like that. And it's actually helped us. I grew up here, so my mom's lived up here over 40 years, and so it's helped us reconnect with our own mountain. Instead of searching other people's mountains, we reconnected with our own. And so that's been really nice. So
I definitely love that. So my next question is, how can we get to know you? How can we buy your books? What can we learn more about you as an author? See future interviews, things like that.
Okay, I have a Facebook, Dawn Menge 1. I have an Instagram, which is Dawn Menge, and I have a Twitter, which is Queen Renita. I also have a website, Dr. Dawn Menge. My email is queenrenitasvisitors@yahoo.com. And my publisher is Rushmore Press. And my books are on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. All you have to do is Google my name, and then you'll find where they are.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So this is another part of the show where and where but you've been doing this all interview, where I basically give you the final words of wisdom, anything you want to say, the floor is yours.
Okay, so my words of wisdom for the new authors, or the authors that are struggling, are starting to feel overwhelmed, because there was a point where I was kind of discouraged. And so what I did was I joined the SCBWI, Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. That was one of the best things I ever did for myself. I started going to their conferences and their workshops, and they are the neatest people. I mean, you're around, uh, New York Times bestselling authors, and then you're around people who haven't even published yet. And everybody is just treated with so much respect. And they're just out there just wanting to give you as much advice as they can and encourage you. And it's just a wonderful organization. And I saw there's a speech that Kwame Alexander does. It's called Yes. And my story is that at the end of a conference, I was just exhausted, and I wasn't even going to stay for his speech. It was the last speech. And so I sat down on the floor in the back. It was so crowded, and I listened to his speech. And he talked about how he started self-publishing, and he was going to give up. And his wife was telling him, you got to go get a real job. And of course, that's when he hit it, and things started really developing for him. But that is something that he encouraged all of us to do, is to try new things. So if an opportunity comes up, say yes to it, because you don't know what's going to come from that opportunity. So that's something that I started doing, and I started really enjoying just the author journey itself, not feeling pressure to get another book out or to make a bunch of sales or to win another award. You start meeting lots and lots of really neat people. That's when I started doing a lot of stuff with Story Monster, and now I write book reviews, and I judge their literacy contests. I also judge the literacy contests for Indie Tale magazine for their romance books. And so that's a lot of fun. And I also joined the United States Board on Books for Young Children. And it's an international group. And I went to New York City and went to one of their conferences. But I'm on their committee for choosing the best books for and about people with disabilities. So I'm on their committee. I've been on it probably over 5 years. And so I do that. So that's what I encourage authors to do. Don't stress that, oh, I have to have, I have to win 10 million awards, or I have to sell 10 million copies, or, whatever it is. You need to be enjoying what you're doing, because the one thing they tell you at those conferences, you are not going to get rich doing this. If that's what you want, you're not doing it for the right reason.
Do you need editing and formatting services, promotion, or do you need a press kit? Let HD Campbell Productions put together a package to suit your needs. Let us handle your promotion, editing, press kits, photography service, and a lot more. We even do custom videos and videography. To learn more, log on to www.hdcampbell3.com or email us at hdcampbell3@msn.com for a free brochure. You can also contact us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. We guarantee professional services at reasonable prices. Check us out, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Welcome to Hard Drive Publishing. Check out our ever-growing collection of titles, with new titles coming monthly throughout 2021. Check out our website at www.harddrivepublishing.com to buy books, meet the authors, and learn how to submit your own manuscripts. Check out the books at Hard Drive Publishing, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. In today's My Two Cents segment, I want to talk about something different, something that's writing related but then non-writing related, because we all have to go through it. It's how to avoid scams. Um, you always say buyer beware, whether you're hiring an editor or whether you're getting services done like covers and things like that. You always have to make sure you do your research. But that's more clear cut and dry. I'm mainly talking about the scams that people will call you and say you won something, but you have to give up your information before you even see what you won, like your bank account and your social security number and things like that. And then you make way for people who will take your money right out of your account. We have to be careful of that. Even if it looks like it comes from your bank, you have to call your bank and say, "Hey, are you guys running a promotion, running a contest?" Because a lot of times those emails can look very authentic. But just because they have the logo on it, any of us can put a logo on an email and say it's from the bank. One thing a friend of mine said that he does is he'll actually click on the email address and see where it's actually from. And if it's not from your institution at yourinstitution.com, and it's a bunch of jumbled up letters and numbers put together like it's a fake email, more than likely it is. A lot of times when I'm running contests, like last season, I did my first contest in which viewers were able to win copies of one of my interviewees' books on Kindle. They were actually able to win the whole series. I would never give you a contest in which you have to give me any information at all. You know, some purchase might be necessary, but they'll be buying a book. You'll actually gain something in order to win something. Anything that causes you to give up something in order to win something is not a good thing. So, in the event, if you have, you can always call the Better Business Bureau. You can always call your institution. And then finally, I want to say this because I actually had someone to argue with me this week saying, well, my institution authorizes, they said, okay, well, my point is, if your institution authorizes it, and it's a scam, like it's a bank you've been banking at for 20 years, you open up to a lawsuit. But 9 times out of 10, I doubt it's your bank. I really seriously believe it's someone scamming you using the bank name. Because the bank would have been sued by now. So, my bottom line, my 2 cents is beware of scams, beware of scam artists, and make sure you always do your homework when it comes to things like that. Nothing in life is free. Nothing in life that's actually worth getting is free, especially quick money. Stay tuned next week for when we have 2 more authors for the Author's Corner. Peace, and as always, thank you for watching, and let your writing fuel your spirit, and God bless.